What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eduardo, and I'm here with my co-host, Edward. What is up, Edward?
Hola, Eduardo.
The heck? See your background. What's your
Now,
back? See your background. Said when you finally realize football season is over. I know.
yeah, I felt like maybe starting the show with that, maybe like the performer that's in this so-called meme it's kind of rare. Like a lot of people are talking more about the actual halftime show versus
Game.
the actual game itself.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, man, football season has come to an end. Um, it's only right now 213 days until the next season. So. It's a long way, it's sad football season has ended. Um
I feel like in a way you're sort of changing the subject at hand.
yeah, well we'll
But
get to we'll get we'll get to that we'll get to that topic later. But yeah, man, season's over. Um we'll, we'll- it's crazy that the season went by so fast. Like it just felt like we just started the beginning of the season. It was like September, and then everything just went by so quick. And now we're in off season time. Which, hey, football still a lot of news always breaks down as soon as the game ends. Super Bowl, there's always news to break.
all season kind of keeps us interested.
Yeah, man.
We truly have
Uh,
no idea what's going to happen. But let's speak about Super Bowl 60. The 60th Super Bowl was played last night.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, like you mentioned, Super Bowl 60 was played last night in San Francisco. It was the Seattle Seahawks against the New England Patriots, who are no surprise, they're always, historically they're there. And they were going against Seattle, which, man, this defense, the dark side, it showed up. Their defense definitely showed up. They were probably one of the best defense in the league, if not the best defense, up there with the Texans. But man, they took over this game. Um, they just completely killed Drake May. That offensive line, the Patriots offensive line, was killed, especially on that left side with Campbell and who is it the other side with Will Campbell and I think I forgot who the other guy was. I think Morgan
The
Moses.
name's not, yeah, the name's not coming to mind, but yeah, speaking more about Seattle's defense, they got to Drake May 8 times. They got 8 sacks on him, and I think they forced him to two key turnovers.
Key turnovers, yeah. And like I said, that
Yeah,
that 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 defense, like DeMarcus Lawrence was traded from the Cowboys, went there, won a ring. That's a great acquisition that they got, won a chip. They got players like Witherspoon, Anonsu, where's it how you say it?
Uche- Uchenna
Uchen,
Nwosu,
Anonsu, which got the pick, right? He was the one that got the pick six, right?
yes.
Yeah, he was got the pick
Devon
six.
Witherspoon caused the
Yeah.
fumble, and Uchenna Nwosu returned it.
Yeah, and then they got Witherspoon.
It
Yeah,
it
they
looked
got
like a
Kobe.
fumble origin. Yeah, it looked like a fumble originally, but it was actually ruled an interception. So I guess his hand was going forward.
Yeah, but man, that front four, they could not. The New England Patriots could not. Their offensive line could not protect Drake May. They had no chance against the Seattle defense. And if you saw that the minute that Drake May snapped the ball, the defense was just ready to go. They were just like flying,
Yeah,
ready to sack.
you can see the defense. You can say the defense wanted to set like an early kind of wanted to
Listen,
set a tone early on the Patriots' first possession.
yeah, Drake May, he looked. There wasn't much more he could do. Um,
They completely shut him down. At least in the first, they really did shut him down, especially in the first half.
Yeah, he looked like he was a second year quarterback. He did not look good. He didn't look comfortable. There were certain things that he probably
You're
hasn't
saying
seen.
you're saying he looked more like a second year quarterback and not really the guy that was second in the MVP voting.
Yeah. But I mean, look, I feel like any other quarterback would have looked like same way. I mean, besides Stafford, which Stafford he was able to cook the Rams defense, but they lost. But yeah, I mean Drake May he just didn't look he didn't look comfortable. When you get sacked, how many times you get sacked? Well, you say 8 times he got sacked in that game,
Yeah, yep.
and
It
then
was eight.
and then
Yep.
and then he set the record with the most sack, which Joe Burrow had. That was a 2020 year that they went to the Super Bowl, or 2021 year they
The
went to the Super Bowl.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, he got sacked 21 times. Drake May got sacked. Was it 20? Was it 21 or you got 20?
I think you're talking about like the whole postseason run.
Yeah, the whole postseason. Yeah, the whole postseason.
Yeah, I think he either set the record or tied it. I think it was 21 times.
Yeah, and like I said, he went against like really tough defense, the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos. Reportedly, he had a shoulder injury.
Hmm.
But she said they shot it up on his shoulder, but nothing to take away from the Seahawks. I feel like even if he was healthy, I think it still would have been too much for the Patriots. But yeah, man.
What's not really getting talked about? Yeah, the Seahawks defense, it really was within the game plan to just attack Drake May, but what's really not getting talked about is like what happened to the Patriots offense? It kind of was strange how I think they were trying to run the ball and they knew that wasn't going to work. So I feel it was maybe like a little too late to like maybe in situations like this you kind of have to get the balls to you kind of have to get the ball to your playmakers.
Yeah,
So I know Matt Collins got the touchdown, but Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry had a pretty relatively quiet game.
yeah.
I know Drake May was under duress, but it was just really crazy how the Patriots offense really can get anything going.
I think Drake May had like what 84 yards within what like the start of the fourth quarter or something around there towards the. I, I think he had like 84 yards, and it's crazy because at the end of the game he had 295 yards. And I think those were like garbage points and stuff at that point because it was kind of out of hand
Hmm.
at that moment. But like you said, the offense, I feel like Trayvon Henderson, he had little spurts every time he was getting the ball, and I feel like he could have been used more. He only had 6 carries for 19 yards. I feel like you said, they couldn't establish the run as much. But I just feel like I don't know, Josh
Yeah,
McDaniels.
I think
I feel
I
like they
think
could have done something. I thought at halftime they would have done halftime adjustments coming after game. It
yeah,
was like 9-0.
as much as the Seahawks defense did dominate the game, it kind of I think they kind of maybe got like decided to maybe get away from the run game and try to figure out if they could try something else different, but I don't think they accounted for like how aggressive that deal would be. So kind of going back to Seattle's defense kind of like getting in the way. I think we really saw it like come close when we saw that Julian Love interception because yeah, I think it was kind of in the second half where like they're kind of starting to make momentum and Drake May's kind of like getting in a groove. But yeah, basically once all that pressure's coming up front, I think it kind of does affect like what Drake's seeing from his point of view as the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and
So
that
as the
yeah.
pressure keeps coming, he can't really see. I guess the coverage kind of changes, and that's why I think he kind of knew as he threw that ball, it was going to get intercepted.
Yeah, they completely like the receiver just went just straight, didn't even look at the ball. Drake May threw it, and that's where he
Hmm.
got picked off. That's a mistake on him. But like you said, look at the offense. Keyshawn Booty, he was the season. He was probably one of the main guys receiving wise. Only one catch, 21 yards. Stephon Diggs didn't really get going till like well, they didn't really throw him to the ball. Not till like later on. You saw him in the second half. He only had 3 catches, 37 yards. And so I feel like they didn't really try to go. I don't know. Offensively, they just. I mean, one Drake May couldn't do it all because the Seattle defense they were pressuring him a lot, and it was
Hmm.
very hard for him, and he really couldn't escape, get out of the pocket. Like I said, that knowing that the left side was their weakest side, Seattle just kept on attacking. Will Campbell was just
Hmm.
he would just getting basically
Yeah,
manhandled and pushed
yeah, I think
into
that
Drake
really
May.
was. Yeah, it's great. It's great that you say that because I think that really was the overall game plan. Just try to get Drake, just try to get number 10 off his rhythm because now not only are you getting pressure on him, it's also going to affect how he gets the ball out to the playmakers, and that definitely works to Seattle's advantage.
Yeah, and then they had two on the left side. They had two rookies on that same side. So Seattle was able to game plan it, and like you said, they attacked that side. Even on the other side, they were just able to the way that they blitz was crazy. At one, I think in that interception where he kind of got that fumble, and then he got that and also got that intercept like somehow landed on him. It was literally
Yeah.
Witherspoon and him just coming in on that one side and just they were just able
Hmm.
to just attack. It was just too much for the Patriots offensive line, and it was just crazy how fast they got to Drake May. It was quick. He wasn't even able to get
Yeah.
get rid of the ball.
I know throughout the season, both these teams had pretty great defenses, and I think the Patriots defense kind of did turn it up throughout the whole playoff run, excluding the Super Bowl.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that was also kind of like tricky to figure out exactly who do you think like maybe like up into the week going to the Super Bowl, you were kind of like questioning who really would win this game because we knew Seattle's defense it looked legit, but maybe that was a raised question about the offense too, like just really how the offense would perform.
Yeah.
But you also knew, I think maybe it's a little confusing because like maybe you knew like that could probably work to the Patriots' advantage if their offense also clicks too. But yeah, first half we kind of did take away that it was going to be pretty defensive battle.
Yeah, I mean, it was a defensive battle, and regardless of what the score says, the Patriots, their defense was able to make some stops. But after like the AJ Martin touchdown, the defense played well. Honestly, Christian Gonzalez made
Yeah, he was really
two
the only
stops.
guy on defense that showed up for the Patriots.
At that moment, I feel like it would have been a blowout. I think it was like a third and something. Um, it was a great ball, and Christian Gonzalez like last minute blocks it away from Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that was going to be a touchdown. Christian Gonzalez made a
Mm-hmm.
key stop, and there were certain moments. I mean, look, Sam Darnold, like I think this is what I think we said it before, like last episode we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to like ball out. It just I feel like he just had to be smart, not make turnovers. He didn't make turnovers all playoffs, and I feel like honestly, the game against the Rams, that was the game where he
Yeah,
like
you're
that
talking
was his
about the.
that was his
Are you
moment.
talking
That
about?
was his moment.
Are you talking about the regular season game or the game in the
The
playoffs,
the
the
playoffs.
NFC Championship?
The NFC Championship. I feel like that was his moment. That was his moment,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed that he can play in those big games. And this game, as long as he didn't, he was going against a tough defense like the Patriots. As long as he didn't make certain mistakes, they were gonna they were gonna make it. And you see him that he was able to escape certain moments. Like he scrambled out of the pocket, was able to escape, which usually he hasn't really done. There was one specifically in the first quarter. He just a little overthrew it to Jackson Smith and Jigba.
JSN,
That
which would have
JSN
been
that
a
would have been
walk-in touchdown,
walking touchdown at that moment.
and that
Um,
would have just set. I think that would have really set the whole tone for like the rest of the game too,
there was two.
because he is the offensive player of the year, like the type of season he had.
Yeah, and
It was a
Rashid Shaheed.
I mean, it was a little weird seeing the performance he had in this game versus the type of season he had, but
Yeah, I mean, look, when you get the Super Bowl, you win it. It doesn't really matter what your stat says. I mean, he was like you said, he balled out all season. He deserves it. Rashid Shaheed, there was one throw. I feel like he just underthrew it a little bit. That would have been a touchdown. Gonzalez was right there marking Rashid Shaheed, but Rashid Shaheed, he's a speedster. I feel like Sam Darnold just would have just thrown a little bit more armor, and he would have got a walking touchdown. 'Cause Rashid Shaheed is
yeah.
fast
But
receiver.
going back to Sam Darnold, yeah, what you said about the NFC Championship game and how he played pretty much flawless. I when you kind of look back throughout the season, like that really was the key. That really was the key for like Sam Darnold's success, just not turning the ball over and actually watching the game and kind of like just watching. I think the playoff run and some of the things this season. The key to his success is that and kind of like I think what makes Sam Darnold kind of like very interesting too. He just does what needs to be asked for the Seahawks to win. That's all he has to do. Like it's one thing not turning the ball over, but I think throughout the last game and this postseason run, I think we kind of saw why he was actually drafted third overall, just like how he plays the position. He's like as we kind of saw throughout the game, like he is stepping up in the pocket and he makes those throws. And I talked about the last episode. I really remember his first game as a Jet. I think his first pass was a pick six, but he didn't let that bother him. But
Yeah.
yeah, throughout the whole course of his career, and I think that also maybe as well also boosted his draft stock at the
Hmm.
time. He just has a good he just has a good feel for the position. And, like he plays with such great poise. Because I was seeing like it can like as you kind of see like maybe he's checking his read, but he's also stepping up in the pocket and being somewhat aggressive when he needs to be, but also just making the right throw and the right check down when he needs to do that.
Yeah, there was like one throw which was like a very tight throw. I don't know if it was for AJ Barner. It was a very tight throw that the Patriots defense would have like got it. And I feel like those throws were were only certain quarterbacks can make those type of throws, and he was able to do it. Like I said, he was able to protect the ball, didn't make mistakes. He was very smart with it. He just knew what he had to do. And
Yeah, it's
this
like kind of like go.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, kind of like just going throughout his career. Like I said, he was drafted like third overall, so he does have some playmaking ability, but I think we kind of saw like the early sign of him, but I think we also saw like the seasoned vet in him too when he was kind of like kind of like his playing style too.
yeah.
So like he's played on 5 teams throughout his entire career, but I think you kind of see like all that other coaching in his career did kind of like prepare him for this specific moment too.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, redemption stories in NFL history. What he went through and everything that like I said, 5 teams. He was in 5 teams within his whole NFL career. He was with the Jets. It was horrible there. Everybody
And,
kind of gave up on him.
and and he came from a pretty loaded draft class, and believe it or not, he was actually the first quarterback in that draft class to finally get a title.
Who would have thought in the draft class? Lamar, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. Like out of those, I mean, obviously Josh Rosen, but out of those three, Baker, Josh, and Lamar, nobody thought Sam Darnold would have been the guy to get it, and he was. Obviously, he had a lot of criticism, and like I said, the way his career went, but I don't think nobody there's more than him. And I feel like he can play here and he's a starter. And I feel like if you really see like even with the when he was with the Vikings, the locker rooms they like him.
Hmm.
His teammates support him and they know that he's a guy they believe in him. In Seattle, like his first season, they believe in him. He's just like he's a good locker room guy and I feel like they
Yeah,
know that he was able to ball. And the locker room would know whether he's a guy or not. And I feel like when he was in the Vikings, they did, and when he was in and with the
yeah.
Seahawks,
I
it
kind of
was.
did. Yeah, this whole season with the Seahawks, even when he was kind of like asked in post game interviews, you can kind of tell like he just keeps the main thing. And like, I feel like that also kind of helps his story too, because it's just like I think people just like to root for the guy for someone who just keeps the main thing, and just like I think his time with the Seahawks has shown like I think Sam Darnold has finally shown like he does deserve to be in this league. I feel like that yeah, his time with the Seahawks that just put the world on notice that he belongs in the league despite everything that's happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the difference with the Vikings this year and the last year. You know, they 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 moved on from Sam Darnold. They got obviously um what's it nine or what's his
They
name? I
moved on
keep
from
forgetting. Yeah.
they moved on from Geno Smith. They traded
G-
him. I remember.
No, but yeah, they Gino Seattle wanted to keep him. Gino Gino left, and then look at the offense and how everything went. It was just it was a perfect fit in there. Mike McDonald, great coach. I feel like
I
the
mean,
Ravens.
you kind of it's not just Mike McDonald, but you kind of have to shout out Seattle's front office
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
because I think they used the same formula even when they got their first Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and the Legion
defense.
Boom. But yep, but they decided to tear it all down, start from new, and that's the formula for their success.
Yeah, that
It happened in 2 different iterations. That's how they got two. That's how they currently have 2 championships now
yeah, and
as a
their offensive
franchise.
coordinator is going to the Rays, right? Clint
Yes,
Kubiak.
Clint Kubiak,
Yeah, yeah. And which he did a good job offensively. But yeah, man, that was Sam Darnold, and he was not the Super Bowl MVP. It was Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth
He was
Walker
a
the third.
he was a Super Bowl MVP, and what a performance he had. Um, Man, 27 carries for 135 yards. He did not score, and then he and receiving wise, I think he had like 26 yards for 2 carries. Over 100. What I think he had like 160 something yards, 100 something like that. But he balled out.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots had no answer for him stopping him, and he dedicated this game to his teammate, his running mate, Zach Charbonnet, which unfortunately he was out for the rest of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah. I
And I feel
think
like
what
with
doesn't
those,
get. I don't know if they led the league. I don't think they led the league in rushing, but I think they probably had one of the best offensive lines and best running games in the NFL, even when Charbonnet, before he even had his injury. But think it did show that Kenneth Walker is able to step up when needed to, even if they have to like split carries between him and Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker showed he is capable of being like number one running back on the biggest stage.
Yeah, but he had like injuries, right? He had certain injuries a couple seasons ago, or s- he was kind of on and off. That's what
I
Charbonnet.
think
He was the guy for a little bit.
yeah, yeah, I think he did.
But imagine if both of them there. I, who knows, man? It probably would have been. They both caught 100 yards together. Who knows? Honestly, it was just him because the other back only had 2 carries, 6 yards. Sam Darnold had 5 yards running. Rashid Shaheed only had -5 yards. But yeah, Kenneth
Funny
Walker
enough,
balled that.
but funny enough, and I guess I think maybe we kind of need to speak on Kenneth Walker's name more because I think he's actually the first running back to be a Super Bowl MVP
Since Terrell
since
Davis.
1998.
Terrell Davis was the last one, which is crazy, right? Uh,
Yep, who
but
would have
yeah,
guessed the running? I think
yeah,
backs like him and Saquon Barkley are starting to. I think they might be fixing the running back position.
yeah. I mean, look. When I saw Kenneth Walker running it, certain things, it kind of reminded me, kind of like Le'Veon Bell-ish type style running. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Le'Veon Bell was kind of a little bit more slower pace. He took his time, but he had a similar stance. And then when he was able to go, Kenneth Walker, he went find the holes. But he kind of reminded me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit.
Yeah, the running style. I think a lot of people. I think they talk about how innovative Le'Veon Bell's running style was, but I think when he does that, he's just like running, kind of like seeing, kind of takes what the defense gives him, and that I think, yeah, I think maybe he's not the first back to do it, but I think he kind of was a hybrid because also he was also very very dangerous in the receiving game too.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Kenneth Walker and a guy that I feel like certain people expected it that he was gonna ball out. I feel like it was a time that he was gonna show up. Obviously that in the beginning in the regular season wasn't he didn't really do that much impact, but I feel like in this game I feel like he was gonna make a performance and especially with JSN was out because of injury was Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup
Yeah,
stepped up.
I knew the Patriots were definitely going to try to shut down JSN. Like I think get. I think I forgot to speak on it the last episode too, but I think what makes Jason so unique is like you never really see a receiver kind of like line up in the backfield. But I think that also helps. I think that actually kind of like throws the defense off their heels because normally if you see him line up or motion out, they'll probably keep an eye on him or putting him in the backfield. That frees up other things, or maybe using the other receivers as a decoy to kind of like get make him get more free. And he just runs like little quick routes too. Yeah, like the way that I think the whole offense is structured, like the way they position him, that helps him get open. But
Yeah.
they have other pieces that can kind of like act as decoys and still make plays when needed to.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp had 6 catches for 61 yards. AJ Barn, I feel like he was gonna score. I knew he was gonna score. I feel like there were certain moments
Mm-hmm.
throughout the season he was one of those guys, and he's a great tight end. But had 4 catches, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. Rashid Shaheed, they didn't want to give him the ball in the kickoffs or any punt returns. They just knew that was the key of the game. But speaking about special teams, hey, the Seattle special teams was incredible. They
Mm-hmm.
they had a game, man. The punter and the kicker. Myers, he set the record for five field goals in the Super Bowl. And the Aussie, Michael Dixon, the punter, man, what a performance he had in the punting game.
I think I know people look at the score of like 29-13, kind of saw this game as kind of a blowout, but now I think it kind of did. I think this Super Bowl did show that all three phases of the game all contributed in the win.
Mhm.
Obviously the offense scored their points when they had to. The defense helped along with that. The special teams they did their job. They did their job efficient and effectively.
Yeah, I mean, the Seattle was. I feel like they were just a complete team all season. They were the
Hmm.
best team.
Hmm.
They were the best team in the NFL this whole season.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I think we knew that maybe like a little early in the season, but I think towards like kind of like as kind of once the playoffs came in, like that's when we finally realized, yeah,
Yeah.
this team is really serious. But I do blame it on the fact that Seattle is so far away. I think people just don't keep an eye on them like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was that and obviously Sam Darnold. I feel like they knew this team was really good. It was just Sam Darnold was the key factor whether he was going to perform or not. Obviously, what happened in the Vikings in the last season within the playoffs, I think that was the factor. Um, but yeah, man, Seattle is back. They're the Super Bowl champions, best team. Um, it, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl, and
Mhm.
like let's Drake May, he went up there, he was devastated. It just you don't get you don't always go back, and I think that's why a lot of
Mhm.
ex players say that you don't always go back in your mind, be like, okay, we made it here once, we can make it back, we'll be back next year. But sometimes they never do. I'm not saying Drake May won't ever go back there, but it's very tough. The season that New England Patriots had was an incredible season, and obviously they went against Seattle, the best team.
And
But
obviously, the Patriots have had like this long reputation of being like that dynasty, the like always being contenders, in
yeah,
the Brady era. So once they finally got back in such a short time, I think the Massils felt so great finally, like just touching glory one more time, but just came up one game short.
yeah, man. Like I said, it's tough, and I mean Drake May got to put his head up because I feel like he had an incredible season. He was the runner up for the MVP. Did not play like it, but he balled out an incredible job from the Patriots, Mike Vrabel, and that defense. And they're probably gonna have to draft on offensive line. They need to do some work on the offensive line, and I feel like this team they can make a run again next year. Seattle, I, right now they're probably the favorites to for next year's Super Bowl, and if they keep this team the way Sam Darnold plays and everybody's healthy,
Ironically, after winning the Super Bowl, they went up for sale too.
oh yeah, they certain people want to buy them, right?
But what doesn't get talked about with winning a championship, like when you win a championship, that actually does help the team financially. So,
Hmm.
like, yeah, this championship will actually help them in, I guess, that sale too. And now more people are going to want, more sponsors are going to want to do business with them too. So, yeah, even though they said they're on sales, Seattle can only keep going up from here.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Super Bowl 60 was over. Man, it was an incredible season. What's your takeaway from this season? Just this in general, like it was a very interesting season. Crazy everything, crazy stuff happened this season, and
I mean, this season, yeah, it
we
had
didn't
its
we,
moments. It had its moments, but this season, yeah, it's gonna just. I think really just like even for next year, football's only going to keep going up now.
yeah. Let's see, and then all right now stepping away from the game. I guess you wanted to bring it up in in the beginning of the episode. What's your thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime show? We won't get into like, obviously this is very
Yeah, yeah,
been
yeah.
very controversial, but
I know,
general
I
perception.
know what you were kind of alluding to, but I think I was kind of joking about it while I was like separately talking to you, but I think he actually kind of exceeded. I think Bad Bunny exceeded expectations with really his whole performance because it wasn't just really like his music or I think the actual show.
The production. I feel like the
Yeah, it was
production,
very well produced, and I think it also kind of did help educate a lot of people with probably
this,
certain things they probably didn't even know about. Not just like maybe stuff in the news, but I think also the culture.
yeah, the culture. I feel like I really like the production. I really like the whole setup. I really like certain things, little things that he added. You know,
Hmm.
one thing is the music, and the other thing is like the production. And honestly, it's a halftime show. It's a show,
Yeah.
and I feel like he delivered. It was like I said, it was a good show. Whether the music not people like it or not, that's one thing.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan, but obviously there was certain music it had. I feel like there's certain little funny. I don't know if you caught on. Certain people will catch on, especially the Latin community. Was you see that boy in that chair sitting down, kind of sleeping?
Oh, the chair.
Yeah, so I feel like those little things were like okay, like those are memories of kids growing up at parties late, sleeping and somebody waking up from a party and something like that.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know that was
know.
a wedding.
Yeah, I know. Maybe to like the untrained, I want to say maybe the untrained eye, or maybe like the uncultured eye,
Yeah.
yeah, that moment when you can't like you see him standing, then he falls into the house and then he leaves. Like even me, even someone like I can't even. I tried taking so many Spanish classes. I'm still bad at it. But even like he falls into the house and he leaves, and I see like, oh, he's showing the barrios. And
Yeah,
I'm being educated as I'm watching the show, and
yeah,
like I know there was like a lot of noise. I'm not gonna get into all that, but like what I just saw was like, oh, he's just showing the culture of Puerto Rico and just he's informing the masses of America like Puerto Rico's rich history and culture.
yeah.
Just kind of
And then
just educating people like what's in Puerto Rico, which a lot of people still, believe it or
and
not,
then
don't know is still U.S. territory,
yeah. And then they
though
obviously had
it is part of
yeah,
America.
yeah, then he had all the Latin American countries, which was, obviously did for the culture. Then they had like boxers, they had famous boxers there. They had little artists in the little house that they had.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, I mean it was a great show. Like I feel like you just enjoy it, and I like the production in general. But yeah, man, it was good. It was really good, well produced, everything like that. Yeah, man. But we'll see what happens.
I
Who's
think,
next year? Hey,
yeah, I
hey,
think,
the pre-show was good too. Green Day was good. Green Day
yeah, Green Day,
and the intros were good. They had Chris Pratt and what, Bon Jovi
John
introducing the
Bon
intro.
Jovi,
Yeah.
long time New England fan.
So I feel like in general, I feel like the Super Bowl was really good. Like the introductions, the what's it called, the national anthem. I think everything was well produced, and I feel like it was, whether what like, obviously people are gonna like points wise and offensive wise, it wasn't appealing, but I feel like for people who watch football and really love the game, you kind of see it was a defensive game and you appreciate it a little bit more, knowing it was like a defensive battle. And I feel like the non-football people kind of like, oh, it was kind of boring because not that many points and stuff like that. But I feel like it was a really good Super Bowl in general.
It may not maybe live up to like I think this Super Bowl may not maybe live up to like the lore of other Super Bowls in the past, but I think it still kind of like has its own little. It'll still get talked about for years to come.
Yeah.
Because I know even like 10 years ago, Super Bowl 50, Von Miller won the MVP, and I think the Broncos. It was Peyton Manning's last game, but the Broncos won the game off the strength of their defense.
Yeah.
Even though they did have a pretty prolific offense throughout that season too, but yeah, even this halftime show, like I said, we don't need to get into like everything kind of going
Hey,
on in the world. Not really. We don't need to get too much into everything going on in the world, but I think this halftime show it kind of did. I think maybe kind of maybe help put a button to kind of like quell a lot of people for like a lot of stuff going on in the news and just it just had everybody the whole like you could just whether or not you can even speak English or Spanish, like you just tell like it was just like a
and yeah,
good
Lady
vibe
Gaga.
just coming to yeah.
I said, "There's your
They
English,
brought
right?"
out Yeah, they brought out They brought out Ricky Martin too. Which I think that also exceeded a lot of people's expectations too.
Yeah. Hey,
Like, regardless of how
hey,
you feel, Ricky Martin's a legend.
hey, Bad Bunny. He know how to
He
hold
did
on to
his
the ball.
thing.
He had ball security though. I did see a stat. He he had 124. He had 124 yards, 125 yards during that whole halftime show, and the Patriots only had 74 yards in total rushing.
I like
So
that he bring. I like that you bring that up because at the end he did spike the ball, and
yeah,
if you kind of see, if you kind of know a little thing about maybe Bad Bunny's career or extracurricular extracurriculars like outside of music, honestly, that spike, I think that's actually he showed he has some athleticism.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen him in the Celebrity All Star Game. We don't need
He
to
was a
skate
wrestler,
on that.
WWE. He was in WWE. But yeah, man, like I said, it was a good show. Um, it was a great way to end, the season. Like it was an incredible season. And I can't wait for next season. Like you said, football's only gonna get better and better. Um, we got the combine in 13 days. Then we have free agency. And then we have the draft in Pittsburgh, which probably gonna be a lot of noise in Pittsburgh. So we'll see. Always news dropping. Coaches probably getting hiring. Tampering period. Football, even though the season's over, but it's really never over, and football's still gonna take over any news, anything happening.
I mean,
Now.
as a, I mean, it's February 9th, but I always find it so great that even after the Super Bowl, like in that short time period of time, I think a lot of people forget we still have the NBA All-Star game that comes next week.
Yeah.
I know it's gotten a lot of criticism in the
Are
last
they
few
do
years, but it's
are they doing
still,
it early? I saw a
you know,
time that said Saturday like 5 p.m. Eastern time.
I don't know about Eastern time. Maybe that's different because it is in LA. I know
Yeah,
like the whole
but
time difference is a little weird.
it said Eastern time. So I'm just like, look, I mean we can talk about
I mean,
it, but it's like
I always know this time of year that's when they start the NBA All-Star game.
yeah, I mean like I mean I'll start watching basketball because now it's like what am I gonna watch? Obviously there's soccer, basketball. I haven't even watched the Olympics or anything, like Winter Olympics. But yeah, man, that All-Star game, either they end it or figure something out because you know, like
Yes, I know the
even
criticism the All-Star game's gotten, even not even just the game, but even the other stuff
the dunk
going into
the
All-Star
dunk
weekend.
the dunk contest, it's not the same. The 3-point contest is probably the most exciting part of it, and which back in the day it was like second to the dunk contest. Dunk contest is not the same. I feel like I don't know. Adam Silver figure something out. The players got to figure something out because that also a game. They got to show something at least. Would I be watching it?
I mean,
Maybe.
I know that the problem with the NBA is like, yeah, 82 games on very different days throughout the week, while it kind of does fall into like the season typically starts in October and it kind of falls into the kind of overlaps other leagues and other seasons too. But
Mm.
after the All-Star game, that's when like people start paying attention. April to start locking up seeding,
And we
and
got
then the
March Madness
playoffs kind
too.
of, yeah, oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we also have that to look forward to in March.
Yeah, we got March. There's a lot of sports still. But yeah, I mean, we just got to find something to fill in those Sundays, which the NBA is probably going to be on Sundays. A lot of different sports going to be playing on Sundays. But yeah, man. That's to recap this NFL season. We'll probably start maybe NBA. It's kind of difficult because NBA is every day. Every game every day. Kind of hard to recap. Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. Any last words until we end this episode?
Viva America!
Yeah, we'll be back. Till then, peace.